we'll make sure to bring those to you here on Live Now. But like I said, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we want to dive into some of these really hot-button issues that are percolating on Capitol Hill. Remember, members, they're still on recess, but they'll be back soon after the Labor Day holiday. We have one of those very members waiting in the wings to answer all of our questions about that. Remember, there is a piece of legislation viable right now that would ban members of Congress from trading individual stocks. And so we'll see whether or not this has gained any purchase there on Capitol Hill in the last few weeks. All that and more.
Of this fan who's starting the Sam Levitt for Heisman campaign. He's from Ireland. He brought the sign to Ireland for the Week 0 game between K-State and Iowa State, and then now that could become a thing. Jordan Tyson is in Biletnikoff talks early on with the likes of Jeremiah Smith, who might be the best player in all of college football. We'll see by the end of the season, but overall, I think this is going to be a new look offense. I think there's going to be a lot more air attack, air assault, quick game, West Coast style offense. A little bit less ground and pound from, Cam Scadaboo not being there as much, but I also think Sun Devil fans are going to be enlightened to how good Kyson Brown is and how good a healthy Raleek Brown is. I think that's huge. He was hampered by a hamstring for a lot of last year that pretty much kept him out for the entire season. But look, guys, this is a former 5-star recruit we're talking about. Went to USC out of high school, played at Mater Dei, one of the most prestigious programs in high school in the country. So those two are going to be eyes to watch, and of course Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson are going to be the main course on display.
Yeah, we if you're just joining us here, if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about this season opener, NAU and ASU, your score predictions, players that you're looking forward to keeping an eye on. I'm monitoring the chat here on the old laptop. And also, if you are just joining us now, we had some technical difficulties on the YouTube, but we are back here now. And so if you missed the very top, Fox 10 Talks pregame here with Blake and myself, expanding to a half hour now on Fridays, 3:30 to 4, all throughout the football season to get you ready for ASU's game, but also we'll sprinkle in a little Cardinals once they get ready to kick off. We'll save score predictions for later when we get closer to the end of our show here at 4 o'clock. But I am curious, it's not a spoiler. We both think ASU's going to win this game. They should win this game. No knock on NAU. They're a nationally ranked team at the Division II level, but ASU is the reigning Big 12 champs. They should win this game. We were talking, though, at practice on Thursday, Blake, just our thoughts on how this game may play out. My initial thought was ASU could get up early. Maybe you want to get, the main goal in this one is you want to win, but you want to get out healthy. I thought maybe, we won't see a ton of Sam Levitt maybe in the second half. You want to get the score to where you want it to feel comfortable and get out healthy. Well, I kind of asked Kenny that after practice of, how do you approach these games where it's out, you're kind of outmatched your opponent and you should win. Do you not show a lot of your playbook? And Kenny it was one of those vintage Kenny bites where it was like, no, I told my coaches, we're going 100 miles an hour. We're putting everything on tape. I don't care who sees what we have. We're going a million miles an hour to crush NAU. It was a vintage Kenny bite. After he told me that, then we talked. I thought, nah, Sam Levin's going to throw 8 touchdowns. He's gonna play 5 quarters if they if they have to on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think to say it in this way, I don't think there's going to be any leash on what Sam Levitt's going to be able to have in reign tomorrow. I mean, this is a team that has aspirations for both team goals and going back to back in the Big 12. They haven't outwardly said that, but that is something that is definitely would be something that they are chasing. And then when you think about the individual accolades in college football now, these are games where, you know, it's kind of the unspoken thing where you can stat pad a little bit. I mean, when you take stats into totality at the end of the season, people don't often point too much to the individual games of how many yards you threw in which game and which quality opponent. It's taken in a totality context.
If Sam Levitt throws for 45 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, no one's going to say, well, 5 of those were against NAU.
Exactly. It's like, people aren't going to nitpick that kind of stuff. It's going to say, okay, you put Sam Levitt next to Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, and Sam Levitt has better stats. A more likelihood of that happening is him putting up more numbers in this first game against NAU. So I think it benefits ASU's players, ASU in terms of just the game itself, of course, to play Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson a good majority of the game. Now, there is circumstances where a game gets so out of hand that you slow the brakes up a little bit. I think that will happen, but I like Kenny said, I do believe Kenny's a man of his word, and I don't feel like he's ever blindsiding us with anything in terms of the media. He's pretty transparent with us. So when he's saying he's going to put everything on tape, I truly believe that, and we could see some fun new play actions, new play calls come on Saturday. It should be fun to see.
Well, it's interesting, these first games as well, because after I had that conversation with Kenny, then we had a chance to talk with defensive coordinator Brian Ward, and I asked him how on the defensive side he approaches these opening games, and he kind of had a similar sentiment to Kenny, but he also kind of echoed he's never more nervous for any game than the first game of a season, because you don't entirely know what your opponent is, because you're just watching last year's tape, but they're a new team. You're a new team, even though ASU returns so many starters, but obviously a lot of confidence across the Sun Devil team. Not overconfidence, but confidence. You rattled off some of the stats of returning players and the way that the ASU season unfolded last year. ASU actually, just reading off a couple stats that jumped out to me off of the pregame release from Sun Devil Athletics. ASU outscored their opponents 101-13 in the first half of the last 4 games of last season. That jumps out to me because that shows how dominant ASU was down the stretch when they ultimately made the run to the college football playoff. And I say that to combine with this stat of ASU returning 16 starters from last year across both sides of the ball. That's tied for the most among all Division I teams heading into this season. It's funny because nationally, the Big 12 is not talked about in the same vein as the SEC and the Big 10. And look, I get it. ASU is not Alabama. It's not LSU. It's the SEC. It means more. I worked in the South. I 100% will admit the SEC. It means more. The Big 10, you got your Ohio States and Oregons and things of that nature. But the Big 12 it's a very good conference. It's funny because the ASU moves from the Big 12 to the Pac-12, and it's almost the same narrative because the Pac-12, it was top heavy, but teams kind of cannibalized each other. And the Big 12, no offense to Houston and UCF and maybe Cincinnati, although they hung with Nebraska last night, but you could make an argument that 9 teams could win the Big 12. And it's funny because nationally, ASU, the narrative is still, well, they lost Cam Scattaboo. They can't. I don't know how they're going to repeat. They lost Cam Scattaboo. It's a big issue. We love Scat. I don't think it's as big of an issue as the national narrative would suggest.
No, it's definitely not. And look, I mean, Cam Scattaboo, here's the way I view football, and this is just my own personal view of things, but I think many people would kind of view it in this way. You're going to cater your strengths to your best players. Last year, ASU's best player was Cam Scattaboo. So the offense ran through Scat. Now this year, Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson are kind of 1A, 1B in that department of best players on ASU's roster. So I think you're going to cater more to that this season. And Marcus Arroyo was asked about this at some point during the offseason of how are you going to replace Scat's production? And he answered it in a way of you're going to take percentages of Scat and put it in some quick game passing. You're going to take some percentage of Scat and do it in some, RPOs, some other styles of the offense. You're not going to be able to just replicate it through one Kyson Brown or through one Raleek Brown or through Kanye Udo. It's not just going to be one back. They're just not. There's no replacing or replicating Scat with just one person. It's going to be divvied out throughout an entire offense. And that's the thing. It's not necessarily replacing Scat at the running back position, although ASU having a ground game, Kenny Dillingham's talked about it, is critically important.
And in Sean Iguanu, we trust the running back coach.
Yes. He's done a fantastic job developing backs over the years. But it's about taking that production of offense as a whole, that total yards of offense, and divvying it out throughout the entire system to make up for that.
Yep, and like I mentioned before, if you're watching, hop on the chat here. Let us know what you think about this season opening game between the Sun Devils of Arizona State and the Lumberjacks of NAU. I was surprised when the great Jeremy Hawks, the media relations guy over at ASU, sent out the pregame press release. This is the 42nd time that NAU and ASU have met all time. I didn't realize they played each other that many times.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I have recency bias because I was just in college at ASU. My freshman year, ASU played NAU, and now they're playing ASU versus NAU again. I didn't know how often this took place.
To be fair, there is a note on the press release. 34 of these matchups happened before 1951, so they're historic. It's going back, but still, the games count. The games count.
The games do count. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
This is Jeremy Hawks at his finest right here.
Yeah, that was good nugget digging. Shout out Jeremy.
But yeah, I didn't realize that the history went back that far. It's also worth noting since they started playing more regularly again, ASU is 7-0 against NAU since they picked the series back up in 2003.
It's FBS versus FCS. It doesn't quite match up. But look, I think NAU, it's not just. Like ASU's still going to have to put some effort into this game.
Oh, 100%.
NAU is 19th ranked in the FCS. They made the FCS playoffs last year. Kenny Dillingham gave them a lot of respect in his press conference this week. They've got a really good quarterback. I think he's the reigning Big Sky offensive player of the year. So they've got some talent. And look, ASU should definitely win by a significant margin, but it's like they're still going to have to go out there. Every time you go on the football field, as Kenny says, you should be playing 100%. It just because it shouldn't be based on the opponent, and that's what Kenny Dillingham's talked about so much. It's us versus us. It's how good we can be, how we can push ourselves to be better.
Yep, we got much more. Welcome back here to Fox 10 Talk Sports pregame. Robby Baker, Blake Niemann, the new half-hour edition here of the show. I'm just gonna, as we come back from commercial break, I'm just gonna say Micah Parsons was traded by the Cowboys to the Packers. Maybe we'll get picked up by some algorithm or something. I feel like if you just say Micah Parsons on the internet today, that is probably good news for you in terms of some algorithm or AI, something or other, picking you up and
Too bad the
disseminating
Cardinals your clip. didn't go after him, right?
I wish they would have. That's a topic for another Fox 10 Talk Sports, I suppose. As we come back here, Isabella on the chat, please feel free to chime in what you think about this season opening game between ASU and NAU. Isabella asking if we think the tickets will sell out. I know it is sold out. The Sun Devil Athletics announced last night it was the game is sold out. It's the first home opener sellout. Is it 1998?
1998.
So Mountain America Stadium is going to be absolutely rocking tomorrow night, and Blake and I will be out there. Photographer Brad Gass will be live starting at 5 o'clock, leading up to kickoff here in the 5 o'clock news. I'm excited not only to see, it's like you opening a gift on Christmas. You know, you're like, you ask for things and you're like, all right, is this it? I can't wait to see. I'm excited to see what this football team looks like, even though we have a good idea of what they're going to look like based on how they played last year, and almost the entire starting lineup is back. But I'm just excited to be back in that environment, because at this time last year, going into the season opener against Wyoming, there was a lot of people that was picking Wyoming to win that game. There was people, I was one of them, that was unsure. Wyoming was supposed to be one of the best teams in the Mountain West. ASU had just come off the back-to-back 3-9 seasons. There was excitement for Sun Devil football, because there always is when a new season rolls around. But there was some trepidation as well. Okay, new quarterback again. We know we got Scattaboo. The receivers are unproven. We didn't know what Jordan Tyson was. This is just going to be so different this year. It's going to be like walking into a big party. I mean, I cannot wait to see what Mountain America Stadium looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be electric, and what a difference a year makes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. Last year, going into last season, my season prediction for ASU was 6-6. I thought ASU was going to...
That's probably about what... make a bowl game. Just make a bowl game.
I thought ASU was going to make a bowl game. I think that was a lot of fans' aspirations, was after back-to-back 3-9, the NCAA sanctions, was just give to bowl eligibility. And after they clinched bowl eligibility in Oklahoma State, I was walking off the field with Sam Levitt and asked him, Sam, you're going bowling. How's it feel? He's like, we're going bowling? It's cool, man, but we got more work to do. And boy, did they go on a run after that. I believe they won every game after that, except the Peach Bowl.
The Peach Bowl win, yeah.
You know, that kind of sparked the run toward the end of the season, and just a magical run they ended up going on there. And that's what it felt like. They were playing with house money after that Oklahoma State game, getting the bowl clinching. They doubled their win total from a year ago, and then they go on to triple it, nearly forward to exit with getting 11 wins last season. And now I think it's just a different dynamic. Now you're playing from the point where there really is no house money to play for. Everyone's expecting you to get 11 wins again.
And the target's on your back
And the target's on your back. They say they don't feel it, but inherently there is going to be a different feeling to that. You got to battle that feeling, but that feeling of trying to prove someone wrong versus proving yourself right, proving everyone else who's believing in you now right, it's a different kind of thing you got to battle, and that's what ASU has been working on this whole offseason.
One thing that makes me feel confident, well, there's a lot of reasons I feel confident about this ASU season, but to that point, I have the utmost confidence in Kenny Dillingham. That guy, I mean, you said you were at practice, one of the closed scrimmages that you could kind of watch, but not necessarily tweet about, but he was getting on certain players, and it wasn't in a way... It was in a way that he knew exactly, like, if I tell this guy this thing, he's going to flip a switch, and then it worked. And when you have a coach like that is so connected with his roster, he knows exactly what each guy needs at that at whatever time, and the speeches he gives before games and in the locker room and whatnot. I mean, the clip that went viral after the U of A win last year of twisting the knife at halftime, and they came out in the second half, and that was more than a knife twisting. I mean, that was a exclamation point stamp down of what they were going out the regular season with. Kenny knows, I think, how to manage this. He will know how to manage this. He's already done a good job of managing, I wouldn't say managing expectations, but, you know, the way he's talking about this season from the very beginning was that's last year. It's last year. It doesn't matter. We talked about it a few weeks ago. The We Are the Champions played incessantly through the first couple weeks of spring practice. I think this team is ready to finally turn the page in a sense and to show that last year wasn't a fluke. And to that point, I was listening to a national podcast driving down today, just their college football preview, because I'm so curious why people think how they think about the Big 12 and maybe more specifically ASU. And one of the knocks that this podcast had on ASU was, well, down the stretch, it was a lot of one-score games, and it was so close. The odds of them being able to replicate kind of that magic, it's so hard to replicate that. And my initial thought was the opposite. That's like the people that are coming back, the continuity on the coaching staff, being able to win one-score games, yeah, there's a factor of luck in that, but being able to replicate that part of it, late game execution and things of that nature, that should be the one of the easiest things, in my opinion, for this team to replicate.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with close games. I think I think having 16 starters coming back certainly helps your chances in that, but there's just so many variables when it comes to those close game situations. I mean, ASU for a lot of last season didn't have a solid kicking game. I mean, Kenny Dillingham after the Cincinnati game announced he was going to have kicking trials, open kicking trials.
I almost thought I would do it. What do I have to lose? I got eligibility.
That actually ended up like getting reverted. He went step back on his words, and those ended up actually never happening. But now that ASU has a kicking game with Jesus Gomez, Kenny Dillingham got him from Eastern Michigan, and he's been very high praise, very confident in him. He says, I have so much confidence in him, I can look away, and I know he's going to make it. So having that at their arsenal, I think, very much improves their chances of winning one-score games this season. And then it's just the it factor. It's the clutch factor, and Kenny Dillingham references of when did you know this team was going to be special last year? He always points to the Kansas game when Sam Leavitt ran into the huddle and said, you guys ready to go win a football game?
Mm-hmm.
And they led them on a game-winning drive.
And that game was a battle. 100 million degrees at field level.
Threw a game-winning touchdown to Jordan Tyson to seal the deal, and ASU won its first ever Big 12 game and went on to win the Big 12 championship in its first season. That it factor, that clutch factor, that competitiveness that both Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson and many others on that team have, but the two alpha dogs really have, is what's going to carry this team far, I believe.
So a couple kind of schedule notes if you're going out to the game tomorrow. 11:30 a.m., so almost 8 hours before kickoff, is when pass holder parking lots will officially open. 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when the rest of the pay parking lots. If you don't have a pass ahead of time now, at 2 o'clock is when you'll be able to get in to the pay parking lots. 4 o'clock is when the various tailgates open, the Pitchfork pregame, the Coors Light Sun Devil tailgate, those will open then. And then at 4:30, if you are a premium club level or a suite level ticket holder, you can get into Mountain America Stadium at 4:30. 5:30 is the general public when they can get in, and then 7 o'clock, of course, kickoff of this game between ASU and NAU. And then, as I said, Blake, our photographer, Brad Gass, and myself will be out there for live coverage starting in the 5 o'clock news. We're to the end, winding down here, a few minutes to go. Let's give our predictions here, Blake. I know we're both going to pick ASU to win, but let's throw some scores out there, and then maybe we'll pick one player that we think that will shine the most.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with, this is bold, but I believe strongly in what I've seen this offseason from ASU's offense. Sam Leavitt has shown real promise. One of the biggest things that Kenny Dillingham talked about him focusing on this offseason was his quick game passing, and that's something he's worked on with a lot of his quarterbacks that he's worked with. Bo Nix, who's now in the NFL, having great success with the Denver Broncos, and also worked with Jordan Travis, who was at one point in Heisman conversations when he was at Florida State. So he's worked with a couple of the guys on that. He's implemented that with Sam, worked on that extremely well, and has improved a lot in that area. Jordan Tyson has matured so much in his 3 seasons here at ASU. A lot of people don't know that he's been here for 3 years. He was in Kenny's first season. He was recovering from an ACL injury that year. So coming in then as, a young buck, and now he has matured so much in his faith and so much off the field, mentally just can recognize coverages better, recognize scheme, the way he talks about the game, the way he holds himself, the way he walks around town. There's just a maturity to him. So I think those two each took the proper steps to level up their games, and ASU went out in the portal and got some big weapons with Jaron Hamilton, Jalen Moss from Fresno State, some good receivers, and then Kanye Udo from Army to add to the already returning talent. So with given all that production and an offensive line that basically returns everybody except Lee Fautanu, my prediction, it's going to be high-scoring affair for ASU, one-sided scoring affair. 55-10 is my prediction for tomorrow night.
55-10. I haven't checked it since last night. We were talking about this with Richard. But I believe that would mean ASU on their own would be covering the over/under in this game. So, and that's
I believe it.
It very well could happen.
I think ASU scored 45 plus last year in its opener.
That sounds right. Sounds right. One was a defensive touchdown on the second play of the game. I don't know how many people had that on their bingo card. Yeah. I will go similar to you. How many did you say NAU was going to have? 55-10. 55-10. I think. I'm going to go I'll go 48 for ASU, and I think only 3 for 48-3. I don't think NAU gets in the end zone, and I'm going to couch that with the player I really want to see tomorrow, partially because Blake did a fantastic feature on him that you will see this Sunday on ASU All Access. I want to see Jacob Rich-Kingaika not only ball out, which I think he will, I just think it'd be fun if he scored a touchdown. I don't care how he does it. We saw CJ Fight do it last year against Mississippi State.
Big man touchdown.
Big guy touchdown. The toe tap to get into the end zone. I would love to see Jacob Rich-Kingaika find the end zone somehow, some way on the opening day of the season because I just love that guy. He's a great guy. And also, I just want to see what the touchdown celebration would be. And all the family, like it would be, as the kids would say, a vibe. It would be a vibe.
Well, he in addition to the story that you will see, he's very enriched in his Polynesian culture, and many of ASU's players, it's called the Poly Pipeline. It's been a big thing in their recruiting movement, and his native lands root back to Tonga, so he'll often do the T or the T like this to pay homage to his roots. So I'd guess that'd be a celebration if he scored.
I could see. It would be cool if he just did like the worm or something in the end zone, But no, I think the defense. I think the offense will have a point to prove in the sense of maybe getting some stats for Jordan and Sam and all that stuff. I'm sure Kyson Brown will find the end zone if things go as we expect them to. But I also think this will be a coming out party in a sense for Brian Ward's defense. Of hey, the offense has been talked about a lot. Sam Leavitt, understandably and deservedly, gets a lot of publicity. This defense is going to be really... We didn't even talk about the defense that much today because I don't know how much of a factor they're going to be depending on... They should be able to stop NAU in this game. So I think the defense shows out 49-3, 55-10 is what Blake said. We both are predicting a Sun Devil victory. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow, 7 o'clock at Mountain America Stadium. Then, of course, Sunday night at 11 o'clock on Fox 10. We got ASU All Access. We'll have some inside look at the Sun Devil football program.